parent was one of those things that was transformational in my life and infuses life with new challenges and joy. But when a chronic illness kind of intertwines with parenthood, this transformation are completely different, and they're nuanced and complex. For those like me who walk that tightrope of parenting while battling conditions such as pulmonary arterial hypertension or PAH, every day brings hope, but also a reminder of the struggle that my daughter, my husband, and I, a week after childbirth, woke to a reflection in the mirror that screamed crisis. It was terrifying. I was swollen and bruised. I was black and blue everywhere. My face was swollen to 3 times the size. And that was my heart dying. This was not a solitary battle. The road to recovery meant months of self-advocacy and research and reaching out persistently to medical professionals to find the right medication or the right treatment. It was 4 months of watching over my newborn, but I wasn't able to hold her without support. And this was such a painful time. I wanted to be everything and more for her, and I just couldn't. My body wouldn't let me. And parenting is really the art of presence. That's what I've learned through this. I've had to learn to cherish the fragments of time, the bits and pieces where I could be there for my daughter and my partner and show up as my best self. But that took a lot of work. And my partner stepped into roles that traditionally belonged to both parents, and he carried that extra weight with grace and strength. And I'll forever be grateful. I can't say enough I cannot say more positive things about that. A little bit of an update. As April progresses, well, actually, it was starting in March. As the days go on and the weeks turn into, I don't know where they go. Anyway, my anxiety has been intensifying, and it's also gone with a struggle to find peace and happiness, and just, the journey has been really challenging, and it's been about acceptance in a way, an acceptance that I thought I had found with life and that I thought I was working towards, but then like a bunch of curveballs came and I had to really start defining that in a different way, and that was hard for me to kind of shift into. April marks my daughter's first year of being on this earth, and she means everything to me. She is absolutely what I needed in life. There's also that part that celebrating her birthday is important, but it also reminds me of the life I lost upon her coming into the world. And many mothers grieve their pre-child life, but mine was amplified by the fact that I almost died and that I've had significant health issues afterwards. I didn't think that I was going to have, or I wouldn't have thought that I would experience this kind of extent, or I wouldn't have thought I could go through with the pregnancy and birth, right? I think despite these like trials and tribulations, I'm trying to move forward, and that anxiety has just been lingering, and it's hard. It shows up mostly as physical anxiety, which means like I can't relax, and it transfers the physiological anxiety transfers into psychological anxiety eventually, because my body and my mind are constantly fighting with one another. My body can't release it, so it builds up and then it just kind of explodes, and that's scary. But anyway, uh, I'm getting there, and the external negativity that has been coming into my life has been even more difficult to manage, and I don't have a lot of tolerance for it, and I don't have a lot of room for those pieces because my life is so small. Um, I don't really have a social life. Nobody comes to visit us, really reaches out, and that's just the way it is. Like, I'm not saying that, and I'm not pointing fingers, and I'm not blaming people because, hey, we all have our lives, right? But we don't have that kind of support, and we don't have that kind of network. We are very isolated because we are in a town that is up north, and we don't really know anyone here. I'm not in the position to start going out and making friends, and I was always that person who was a planner, and I would get people together and that kind of thing, and then once I wasn't able to, I guess that disappeared, and it's just hard. Every single waking minute of my day is work, and if it's not work, it's doing menial tasks like washing my hair, or yeah, there's not a lot of room for activities or fun or that kind of thing, and I wish that people would understand that. So it's basically work and home life, and if either of those are off by just a little bit, it I can feel it, and it makes a huge impact because generally people go to work, they're able to go home, they have a social life, they have their activities, they have their family, they have whatever. And mine isn't that. It's basically my daughter, my mother, and my kid, my daughter, my mother, and my husband, and work. So when I'm having trouble at work, that makes a huge impact, and it leaves a huge area where I'm just not happy, right? So, anyway, I share this hoping to connect with others in similar situations, I guess, and emphasizing that while it may not get easier, I really do believe that it will become more manageable. And if it's that way for me, then I do believe it can be that way for you. But we have to put in that sincere effort. And I think there was a period not too long ago that I didn't have the energy. I didn't have it spiritually, physically, mentally. I was just done, and I'm starting to recover from that period of time. One of the things that really rings true to me, and just speaking on, I'm not even making eye contact with the camera, but one of the things that really rings true for me and that I'd like to bring light to is that I'm struggling with this because of the experience that I had in the healthcare system, and a lot of it could have been avoided, and the anxiety that I have has definitely come from external forces, or entities, institutions, people, and I couldn't control it, but it did happen, and now I have to deal with it, and I didn't know how because everything was so busy. Like, newborn, I'm working different jobs, we have a household to maintain, we have all of these moving pieces, we have families that may not understand our situation and are actually making things worse, and don't understand that, like, we can't drive 2 hours to go see you because, like, I'm dying. I'm physically dying. We have a newborn. Shit is hard, right? And people were not seeming to understand how insane our life was at that point. So, like, these are all traumas that piled up over a short amount of time, and now finally, like, things are a little bit more calm, but it's all coming to a head, and it's yeah, it's all coming out, and there is just a solid human being. I couldn't have asked for a better person in this. I don't know how I got so lucky in that I part of life. It's just, he is incredible, and I couldn't do this without him. But yeah, my anxiety was caused by other people, and some of my hurts still is building because of family and friends doing and acting and saying certain things, and then expecting me to fix the relationship, and I'm just not there anymore. But we have barriers in our healthcare for individuals with disabilities and with chronic illnesses, right? And it's multi-layered, and it can deeply affect each individual in a different way, but it does impact their quality of life. One area that I'd really like to touch on is negative experiences patients often encounter with medical technicians and doctors. Individuals with disabilities and chronic illnesses face a lot of criticism and also a lot of dismissive attitudes from people, and we have to learn how to navigate, just like the healthcare professional is constantly dealing with different people and their personalities and different, what we are dealing with the same. We have different doctors, we have different nurses, we have different medication people that call us, and all of this is like it. We have to change based on who we're dealing with, and that somehow isn't fair because we are often in like the downfall of our life. So this really leads to a lack of thorough investigation, and that's what happened in my case, at least, and can lead to death and also furthered disabilities and such, right? So this can be particularly traumatic when it comes to pregnancy care, like right after, and postpartum care. Like the stakes are higher for the mother and baby. Misdiagnosis and the prescription of improper medications, like what happened in my case, are sadly not uncommon, right? And it's either people aren't medicated at all or they're medicated improperly. So this is a real problem, and I'm tired of hearing professionals defend themselves. Stop. Just stop trying to say anything. Just stop. Trauma during childbirth, whether it's due to inappropriate care, lack of support, or medical oversight, beyond the immediate healthcare setting, the negative experiences that others and myself have had can really extend to the struggle of daily life. And that's a major one for me, I guess, is that I struggled to find the proper care and support, and it was just my husband and I trying to figure out what was right and what was wrong, and we didn't know anything. We needed people, and we didn't have that. So that was, it still weighs heavy on me today when like a family member will reach out and say like, why haven't you contacted? Well, you have a phone and you knew what we were going through, and you still expected us to cater to you. So I don't know, if you reverse that situation, it just doesn't make sense to me, but I'm working on that too. I just felt more isolated and really just unheard and helpless and very much hopeless, right? Especially with a new baby, and the ramifications of these barriers in healthcare resonate through everyday life, compounding the mental health strain that I felt and that I was going through. So other individuals that I've talked to often struggle with fulfilling roles that are like really personally important to them, such as being a mother, a wife, a partner, whatever. And it leads to feelings of inadequacy and a lot of guilt. For people like me that are forced to still work, right? And for some, like me, continuing to work becomes a necessity for maintaining that mental stability of managing a chronic illness or a disability, despite the emotional and physical toll it may take. So adding to the complexity of that situation is the observable lack of genuine care and empathy from healthcare professionals and communities as a whole, people that are around you that know what's going on, like I just kind of went into with my own personal family situation. Reasons behind this can range from overstretched medical resources to the personal trauma and the egos of professionals themselves, which can become barriers to providing compassionate care. And to the people that are just in the community, it's kind of the same deal, right? But these deeply ingrained issues are within our communities and within the healthcare systems. People in the community are people working in the healthcare system, right? And it definitely made me feel undervalued and misunderstood. So I'm now feeling family life, work, community, everything sucks. So yeah, when people say, oh, well, get therapy, yeah, but I can't, I don't know. I want a better society for people in general, and this means like able-bodied people, disabled people, everyone. And the only way I can see this is the need for systemic change to address the barriers in the healthcare system, in the community, and across the board. How can we really get to creating environments where genuine empathy and active listening and respectful treatment could substantially improve the results that we're getting within our workplaces, within our community setting, and within healthcare experiences? I think this would lead to better health outcomes for everyone in a more inclusive society overall. But hey, what the hell do I know? Apparently, I'm just some person with pulmonary arterial hypertension and congestive heart failure in its end stages. So anyway, I'll keep trying to figure out the answers to this, and we will get down to the bottom of it together here on Serenity with Lawna. Anyway, as always, much light, love, and good vibes. Peace.